quick video on adverse possession. To file for adverse possession in South Carolina, a claimant must prove continuous, open, notorious, exclusive, and hostile possession of the property for at least 10 years. This is South Carolina. Other states, it may be more or less. I believe Florida was changed. It used to be like a year, but I think they raised it up to like 7 years. So, but there are other states where it's lesser time, and there are other states where it's more time. Okay, so anyway, and potentially pay property taxes. That's very important, paying the property taxes also. Okay, and then file a quiet title lawsuit. And the quiet title lawsuit will be made against whoever was the previous owner. You would file a suit against them because by the time you get to that courthouse and file that suit, you should have already made attempts at contacting them and telling them that you've been maintaining this property and bringing up the property value by way of taking care of the property, putting equity in it, making repairs and mowing the lawn and things of that nature, and also paying the taxes on it. If you pay taxes on a property, they are obligated to then pay you back in full. Well, first what they have to do is they have to pay off all the taxes on it. Once they paid off all the taxes on it, then they must pay you off in full. And then, once they paid you off in full and everything has been paid off, then they can actually reacquire their property. All right, so here's a more detailed breakdown. Requirements of adverse possession in South Carolina. And these rules, fundamentally, these rules apply to not just South Carolina. They apply to all states. All right, there may be some minor exceptions depending upon which state you're in. What I would suggest you do is just look up adverse possession, and then on your state, you use Google. All right. And it's real easy. It's not difficult. Research is not difficult, people. Google is your friend. Just Google it. For the most part, Google will point you in the right direction, give you some fundamental information. They will quote some sources. All you have to do, whatever source they quote, you go ahead and find that source. You can Google that source too, and then go ahead and read and see what that's talking about. Requirements for adverse possession in South Carolina: continuous possession. Got to be in possession of it. The claimant must occupy and use the property for a continuous 10-year period. And again, like I said, other states, it may be more or less. For the most part, 10 years seems to be amongst the highest. I think there's another states where it's like 15, but for the most part, it's like under 10. 7 years, 6 years, 5 years, 4 years, 3 years, 2 years, 1, depending upon what state it is. Open and notorious use. The claimant's use of the property must be visible and obvious. You can't, go into the house and or into the property and put a few things in it and then leave it alone and I'm just not going to touch it for a few years. No, you have to be in it. You have to be in it, occupying it, using it. If it's land and stuff like that, you have to be notoriously out in the open, using it, not hiding while you're using it, not hidden or secretive. So the true owner is aware of the claim. In other words, you're acting on it. If the true owner came by and they saw it, if they looked at their property, they would clearly see that somebody is doing something on it. Notorious. Exclusive possession. The claimant must be the sole user of the property, excluding others as if they were the rightful owner. All right? You got to act like you're the owner. Hostile possession. The possession must be without the permission of the true owner, and the claimant must act as if they are the owner, not a tenant or licensee. Color of title. Optional but beneficial. If the claimant has a document that appears to grant them title, even if it's invalid, they can shorten the required possession period to 5 years. This is South Carolina. Other states, it may be shorter than that. All right. And what's talking about is, like, for an example, if you have a, somebody wrote you up a deed that was not really, obviously they're not the owner, but you have a deed that says that, you purchased the property or what have you, or a bill of sale saying that you bought the property. All right. So this is what it's talking about. And so it says, even if it's invalid. Some people, what they do is they'll create a lease agreement. All right. And from there, they have evidence that that they're allowed to be on the property, even if it comes out to be invalid. Paying property taxes, potentially required. Some sources indicate that paying property taxes is a requirement or at least strongly recommended to strengthen the claim. Steps to file a claim. Gather evidence. Collect evidence to support the claim, such as photographs and videos of the property showing the claimant's use, utility bills and other documents showing the claimant's residency, property tax receipts, testimony from witnesses who can verify the claimant's possession. Consult with an attorney. Seek legal advice from a real estate attorney specializing in South Carolina property law or your property law. This is just to strengthen your position so that you know what you can actually do and what you should not be doing. File a quiet title lawsuit. The attorney will file a lawsuit in the appropriate court to quiet the title. All right? You're quieting their claim on the original title. That's what you're doing. That's what you do when you do a quiet title of the property, meaning to establish the claimant's ownership. Serve notice. The claimant will need to serve notice of the lawsuit to the true owner of the property or other parties with an interest in the property. All right? And that's just basically sending them off affidavits or whatever it is, but you want to send it off either certified mail, return receipt, or registered mail. Present evidence. During the trial, the claimant will present evidence to the court to prove that they meet all the requirements of adverse possession. Obtain a court order. If the court finds that the claimant has proven their claim, they will issue a judgment declaring the claimant the owner of the property. Another video. Appreciate you people tuning in. Peace and love. Let's do this.